the world will be better off if there's a stronger Europe. But I'll give you 3 examples. One, he mentioned ASML. I met a senior executive of ASML who told me ASML went capital to capital in Europe saying, hey, we in Europe must decide the future of ASML. We must decide to whom we sell our machines to. We must develop our own R&D. We must be an independent, autonomous European actor. Guess what? You know who decided the future of ASML? Washington, D.C. decided, not Europe. Okay? As big a continent as Europe is, Washington, D.C. decided. And then number 2, and this is a huge disaster. I can understand why the neocons of the United States wanted a war with Russia, because it weakens Russia. Why should Europe want a war with Russia? Why does Europe want to increase its dependence on the United States by getting involved in a war with Russia? United States can withdraw across the Atlantic Ocean, which Donald Trump threatens to do. Europe's got to live with Russia for the next 1,000 years. The stupidest thing to do was to provoke a war in Ukraine. Now, certainly the Russian invasion of Ukraine is illegal, but the amount of provocations that were made towards Russia could have been avoided if there had been wiser European leadership. And this is also another point that Kissinger made to me. And I make these points because if you want the examples of how to adapt to this new world, there are positive examples and there are negative examples, and Europe is a negative example of how you adapt to this world, which is why you get this sense of pessimism in Europe. And Europe had a tremendous opportunity to play a role of a third independent pole in the US-China contest. Then that would have increased their leverage. But they have effectively given up their leverage and have become completely dependent on the US, and now US writes European policy towards China in many areas. And that would say is a negative example. The positive point, therefore, because, we're all talking about AI. The continent, which got great universities like Europe, has the third biggest economy in the world. Where does it stand on AI? 0. I mean, not 10%, not 5%, 0 on AI, right? But that's where the real contest is going to be. And for all of us outside US and China, the wisest thing we can do is to not get involved on one side or the other. Because nobody can tell you 10 to 20 years who will be stronger. Will it be the US? Will it be China? The US has got amazing strengths. China has got amazing strengths. US has got structural weaknesses. China has got structural weaknesses. So this contest will be absolutely amazing. It's probably the biggest geopolitical contest ever that we have seen since human history began. You've never seen powers of the size and scale of US and China tangling with each other. So don't assume that either of them will win or either of them will lose. You got to figure out how you take advantage of this contest to enhance your own national interests. And when it comes to geopolitics, the biggest mistake countries make is to become emotional. Geopolitics is a very cruel business. United States will use you. We can be a great friend like Denmark. Yeah. Who cares? Give me Greenland. Right? Look at Canada. No country could have been nicer to the United States than Canada. Look at Canada being slapped left and right in the face every day. Right? Work out what your own interests are, calmly, dispassionately, focus on your own interests and where you can advance your interests by working with the United States, work with the United States, and where you can advance your interests by working with China, work with China, and never get emotional.